Hey guys, Dr. Brian Opp here from Opp Family Chiropractic right here in St. Francis. And this month we are talking all things brain, right? So how to keep a healthy brain. What if you have an injury? What do I do? What can help? How can we help you? So often one of the main things that when people come in, they often talk about brain fog. So when we talk about that, I often ask about stress. So are you getting brain fog because you're overly stressed? So so many thoughts are coming through your mind that you can't organize them, right? Like you used to be able to. Or are you on the other end where you just can't really form good thoughts? So you're just struggling to form sentences, remember things like that. So we want to treat both of those differently because when we're high in stress, you're going to get all those thoughts just rolling through your head. And when you're low in stress, like low with cortisol, low with dopamine, those were the times where you don't have a lot going on in your brain and you're just struggling, you're tired all the time, things like that. So we want to treat that. Other things that we want to look at is brain fog coming from an infection? So often they talk about the gut to brain link. And so we want to make sure that we're addressing that gut, especially when somebody comes in like that, whether they're have anxiety or they're on the depression side there. So when we're working on the gut, we want to rule out any kind of infection. Some of the most common things, an overgrowth of bacteria is one, yeast or fungus, those type of things definitely happen. We often, especially now, when people come off of like spring break or rolling after the holidays, those types of things, they've eaten differently, they maybe drank a little more than they normally did, and so we often have seen an overgrowth of yeast, because when you eat those things like sugar foods, more carbs, alcohol, those are able to be fermented, and yeast loves to ferment those things, and then whatever the yeast gives off, it starts to really build up and you get that brain fog there. So we want to rule that out, and you get obviously some digestive issues and sometimes not. Some people just come in with the brain fog, and so we have to tease out what's really going on. With the yeast as well, we get something called a histamine issue there. So some people call it mast cell activation syndrome. It's realistically just an overabundance of histamine. So if you got somebody who's stressing a bunch, and then you have them who they don't eat very well for a little bit, because a lot of times what happens when we stress, we eat poorly. And so there's where we get that over production of yeast. It starts to grow. It blocks out the good bacteria. If you don't really have any, maybe you took an antibiotic or took a bunch of antibiotics earlier in life for whatever reason, ear infections, any of those things that people would normally be on as a kid and then going into adulthood. And so you get that overgrowth of that yeast. And so that then over the years, when people come in and I'm like, oh, stick out your tongue, and their tongue is white. And so you shouldn't have a white furry tongue. That's not a good thing. Other things they often complain about is sinus infections. They just can never clear their sinuses. It's always there because that yeast starts to grow up into the sinus cavity as well too. And so we start to work a lot of times from sinus cavity on down, because you're just continuing to swallow that infection over and over again. And so when we're dealing with that brain fog, we want to rule out the infection if there is one, clear that out, heal up that gut, provide the nutrients and the necessary probiotics to be able to help with that, and then work on the stress level. Do they need help with not low stress, but low cortisol levels where you have to build them up, or are they dealing with the high cortisol anxiety issue where you got to bring them down? So we use different things, especially craniosacral therapy. I've had a few patients now who react to different things that we recommend for them. So they're the 1%ers that we call them, because they do whatever you give them, they do something opposite to what the general public would have it normally do when they take something like that. And so we use craniosacral therapy to start to really normalize that nervous system. And then we can reestablish some of the things where we can attack that histamine issue. And then we can really then make some inroads on helping them improve their digestion and their brain health. So if you guys are struggling with brain fog, you might have anxiety, you might have some depression things, definitely give us a call, and we have multiple ways that we attack it and look at it. So thanks, guys.